Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. You're watching Question Hour, a unique show where we get you all the details of the questions asked by the members and replies given by the ministries and the departments of the Government of India. I'm your host Rajat Kain, joined with my colleague Kriti Mishra.
Thank you so much, Rajat. And as our viewers know that our show focuses on all the important unstarred questions asked by the members of the upper house in the previous session of Parliament. Now, in this edition, we'll get you all the unstarred questions asked by members from the 252nd session of Rajya Sabha. And Rajat, you know that questions are a very important part of India's parliamentary democracy because they give an opportunity to the members of both houses of Parliament to question the government, to elicit answers from the government. And there are different types of questions as well.
Well, broadly speaking, there are three broad categories of question. First is starred, unstarred and short notice. In starred, answers are given directly on the floor of the House.
Whereas unstarred questions are those questions of which replies are deemed to be laid on the table of the House and the answers are in written format. So Rajat, let's take them through the procedure of selection of these questions.
A member submits his or her questions at least 15 days before the office of Rajya Sabha chairman. The Rajya Sabha Secretariat chooses the questions to be answered through a draw of ballots. Separate ballots are held for starred and unstarred questions. The questions are scrutinized for admissibility under the current rules and precedents. Advance copies of chosen questions are sent to ministry or departments concerned. The ministry concerns collect information to prepare the reply. The minister concerned reply to starred questions on the floor of the House and provides written answers to unstarred questions. Up to 160 unstarred questions are listed every day in a separate list.
So there you saw the procedures as to how questions are raised by the members, what is the procedure as to how they make way inside the parliamentary process, and then they are answered duly by the government, that is the ministries and the departments. So Kriti, it's time to begin our show.
So this question is from member Vandana Chavan, and this question pertains to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And Vandana Chavan has sought to know the details about the National Clean Air Program in smart cities and whether the air quality has improved in smart cities.
Well, thanks Kriti, but before we go over to the answer given by the ministry, let's explain to our viewers that how Smart Cities Mission is an ambitious project by the government is leading to urban transformation, and certainly the quantum of air pollution, air quality plays an important role in the improvement of the standards of the city. Now, replying to query, the government said that central government launched National Clean Air Program as a long-term, time-bound, national-level strategy to tackle the air pollution problem across the country in a comprehensive manner with targets to achieve 20 to 30% reduction in particulate matters concentration by the year 2024, keeping 2017 as the base year for the comparison of concentration. Now, under National Clean Air Program, non-attainment cities have been identified across the country based on air quality data from the year 2014 to 2018. Well, along with the reply, the ministry has also attached the list of the cities which are referred to as, or which are in the category of the non-attainment cities, where the cities are required to work a little more on the pollution levels. Now, these cities are given in the annexures to the reply. Now, further in the answer, the government says that implementation of city-specific action plans are regularly monitored by committees at central and state level, namely Steering Committee, Monitoring Committee and Implementation Committee. Now, air quality of cities is monitored by state pollution control boards which publish the results from time to time, and smart cities have established integrated command and control centers which are also connected to air quality monitors for effective monitoring. Well, there we have the ministry replying as to how smart cities are leading change in the urban transformation and also the quantum of air pollution, which is highly essential for improvement of air quality or to say improvement of living standards, not just in smart cities but also in other several cities who are vying to become smart cities.
And specifically, how tech solutions are being deployed in these smart cities to curb air pollution. So, Rajat, in fact, member Vandana Chavan joined us through virtual platform and she spoke to us about her question. Listen in. Ma'am, talking about the 252nd session of the Rajya Sabha, you asked a very important question, which was the unstart question on National Clean Air Program in smart cities. What is your take on government's reply?
As we all know, there are about 102 non-attainment cities. Non-attainment cities meaning cities in India which do not comply to the clean air quality standards. And I'm sure that most of the smart cities, being the big cities, are also part of the non-attainment cities. But it is an important aspect because in smart cities, the government is trying to put in funds, trying to see that we make a change, make a difference, and that it creates a model which other cities then can emulate. Unfortunately, we do not see much happening. In fact, the smart cities are going more into infrastructural changes rather than addressing these invisible issues. And I call even pollution an invisible issue because if there are floods, you can experience them, you can see them. If there's an earthquake, you can feel it. With Corona, we are all sitting in the house, but as far as air pollution is concerned, you do not see it, it's invisible. And it is killing our people. It's almost 2 million Indians die every year of air pollution. And therefore, I think the big cities need to look into this very, very seriously. During the pandemic, we did see that the air cleaned up. So it is obvious that it is we, you and me, we human beings, because of our ways of life, our transportation, our garbage burning or garbage generation, and so many other things that create the pollution. And therefore, it's our responsibility to make sure that we nip it in the bud. In fact, in 2019, the government did come up with a very, very ambitious program called the National Clean Air Program, which has identified these 102 non-attainment cities, and it says that these are the things, mitigation measures that have to be taken to make sure that we address this issue. As I said, 2 million people a year is not a small number, and that too, it also aggravates the respiratory diseases, asthmatic patients, and cardiovascular diseases amongst people. And also, apart from human health, it impacts agriculture and the ecosystems, which is all very important. And therefore, this is absolutely important.
The government also talks about the tech solutions or how the Integrated Command and Control Center is helping in this issue of curbing air pollution.
The basic thing is to monitor. We need to have constant monitoring of the air pollution that we create, the continuous ambient air quality monitoring stations, as we call them. They have to be set up because till you don't have proper data, you cannot really take actions. Because again, in a particular city, the air quality in a certain part would be much graver or more serious than probably in another part of the city. And then you need to address why is it happening, and if it's happening, what is it that we need to do? So I think the monitoring stations. I have some data with me. India has only 134 real-time continuous ambient air quality monitoring stations in 71 cities across 17 states. And if you see in China, there are 1,500 real-time air pollution monitoring systems across 900 cities. Of course, China is much bigger than India, but all the same, we are, as far as the air quality is concerned, it is the same. They are as bad as we are, or we are as bad as they are. They are able to control their air quality If we have to generate more data. And I think technologically, these monitoring stations, number one, are absolutely essential. Secondly, we need to even move to better public transportation systems, because we know that vehicular pollution causes the emissions cause the pollution, and that's what needs to be addressed. And therefore, we need to have all our plans in the city addressed towards making the public transportation system more stronger. In fact, strengthening the entire thing. And what we see in smart cities is we are just making new roads, or not just smart cities, any city for that matter. We are making flyovers, we are having more roads, etc. And they are not really addressing the need of a better public transportation system. So metro, the multimodal transportation system, all integrated into one, so that you have better movement of for people, make it more feasible to them, easier to them. And this seems to be missing again on the second round. The third is our garbage. The kind of garbage that we generate is we throw methane gas into the air, and therefore technological solutions are there to make sure that the garbage can be treated properly. Unfortunately, that also has not been getting the kind of importance or the attention that it needs to be given. Sanitation is a very important thing, but I don't know how a technological solution comes into that. I think people have to be more and more awareness has to be created by all kinds of means, social media, otherwise more social awareness amongst people, so that they are enthused to go and plant trees, because these are the trees which actually give us oxygen and sequester the carbon dioxide. And if that has to be done, each and every person has to make sure that he or she reduces his or her carbon footprint. And if that has to be done, only then can we achieve something that we are looking for.
And lastly, ma'am, any specific suggestion that you would like to give to the government?
You have to implement it better. You have to monitor it better. Probably you need enforcement agencies in a much stronger way. Even just now, as you see, the National Clean Air Program has committees at state level. There's a steering committee, there's a monitoring committee, there's an implementation committee. But what about the enforcement or the compliance? That has not been taken into consideration. It's all okay to write it on paper, which sounds very good. It's very important to actually make sure that compliance is done, and if people or even local bodies are not adhering to what they are supposed to do, I think the government, the state governments and the central government should come very, very hard on these people, because ultimately it's the right to life of a person. The Supreme Court has recognized the right to clean air is right to life under Article 21, and therefore we have to make sure that it is actually brought into action in letter and spirit. We have to make sure, the government has to make sure that these enforcing agencies and monitoring agencies are doing their job thoroughly. Otherwise, we are in for hell. And this has been proved during the pandemic, that we had fabulous clean air everywhere, clean waters. Ganga, which required crores of, we had poured in crores of rupees to clean Ganga, never got clean, but in this pandemic it did to a certain extent. So it's people who are really responsible for this. And therefore we have to make sure that awareness programs are taken up in a great way. And government has to make sure that it actually involves the state government, and more so the local governments. And the most important, the people of India.
All right, on that note, thank you so much for joining us and speaking to us through this virtual platform.
Thank you, Kriti. Thank you. It's always a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Well, next question is by member B. Lingaya Yadav from Ministry of Home Affairs. Now, this question pertains to the issue of the number of forensic science laboratories. The member has sought, is there any shortfall or lesser number of laboratories, forensic laboratories, which are leading to a certain lags in the investigations, whereby investigating officers have to wait for a little longer time to gather evidence and to also have the scientific analysis of the evidence, and this is in turn leading to delay in further investigation and trial procedures.
Well, this response has been given by MOS Home Affairs G. Kishan Reddy, and in the answer he says that disposal of case depends on number of factors. Now, this could be about the nature of case, whether civil or criminal, the complexities of the facts involved, the nature of the evidence, or even cooperation by the stakeholders. Now, police and public order are state subjects under the 7th schedule in the Constitution. So, basically maintaining the state forensic labs, that is the responsibility of the respective state governments. However, the centre or the Ministry of Home Affairs has taken several initiatives in order to strengthen state forensic labs. Now, these include projects approved for strengthening DNA analysis, cyber forensics and related facilities in 16 states and UT at a total cost of 157.98 crore rupees under the Nirbhaya Fund. Total of 195.97 crore rupees has been approved to the states for strengthening forensic science labs in financial year 2019-21 under the scheme for modernization of police forces. To ensure quality and standardization in forensic examination, the Directorate of Forensic Science MHA has issued the following guidelines. Now, these include quality manuals for accreditation of labs as per NABL standards and working procedure manuals in 9 disciplines of forensic sciences, quality manuals and working procedure manuals for biology and DNA division, guidelines for collection, preservation and transportation of forensic evidence in sexual assault cases for investigation officers and medical officers. Evidence collection kits have been distributed to the states and UTs to ensure that evidence is collected and stored in proper manner. Standard list for equipment for establishing or upgrading of forensic science labs. And moving on to the next question asked by member Prabhakar Reddy Vemi Reddy, and this question pertains to the Ministry of Civil Aviation. And the member has sought details about the Vande Bharat mission that was started by Government of India to bring back or repatriate stranded Indians in foreign land. And the member has also sought the details about Air India's involvement and the kind of profits that it has made during the Vande Bharat mission.
Well, a very important question indeed, and that was replied to by the Ministry of Civil Aviation by Minister of State for Civil Aviation Hardeep Singh Puri. Now, the minister says that Vande Bharat mission was a special initiative by Government of India to got back stranded Indians, in which the Indian carriers as well as chartered carriers were involved. It was a huge operation, a huge mission which got back stranded Indians in the foreign lands and also passengers, or to say foreigners who were here in India, they were repatriated back to their homelands. Now, in the reply, the ministry says that as on 31st of August this year, the total number of inbound and outbound special repatriation flights undertaken by Air India Group was 4,505. Out of total about 11 lakh Indian nationals repatriated till 31st of August, about 4 lakh passengers were carried by Air India Group into India. Well, as we say that this Vande Bharat mission was not just to get back the stranded Indians from the foreign land, but also to get back foreigners to their own land. 1.9 lakhs of the foreign tourists, or to say foreign nationals, including also Indian nationals, were repatriated back by Air India in this Vande Bharat operation. On the question of revenue generated by this operation, the government replies the revenue generated by Air India Group from Vande Bharat flights up to 31st of August is 2,556.60 crore. And Air India and Air India Express have followed all guidelines issued by Government of India in all passenger services proceedings like Arogya Setu check, body temperature scanning, social distancing in check-in, boarding, deboarding, and also baggage delivery. Lastly, in terms of the questions whether all the procedures regarding COVID-19 pandemic are followed, the answer is in affirmative, and the ministry says that Air India and Air India Express have also provided masks, visors, sanitizers to all its passengers and PPE kits to middle seat passengers. Well, moving on to the next question that was asked a member, Banda Prakash from Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. The member asked about the details of imports and in-house production, or to say in-country production of PNG and CNG, and also whether government intends to have a direct CNG network across the metros in the country.
So this reply has been given by Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, and he says according to Petroleum Planning or Analysis Cell, which is PPAC, approximately 9,228 MMSCM or million standard cubic feet per day of natural gas was produced domestically in India, whereas approximately 9,966 MMSCM of LNG was imported during the year 2020 during the period of April to July. And this gas also caters to the demand of piped natural gas and compressed natural gas. Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board or PNGRB is the authority to grant authorization to the entities for development of city gas distribution network in geographical areas or GAS as per the PNGRB Act of 2006. PNGRB identifies the gas for development of CGD network depending on natural gas, pipeline connectivity, natural gas availability and techno-commercial feasibility. At present, PNGRB has authorized 232 GAs or geographical areas covering 407 districts for development of CGD network across the country. And let's take a look at the next question asked by member CM Ramesh, and this question is to the Ministry of Labour and Employment. And the member has sought details about the schemes that are being implemented by the Ministry of Labour and Employment and has also sought details about the benefit that is being generated out of these schemes.
Well, replying to this query, Minister of State for Labour and Employment Santosh Kumar Gangwar replied saying that Government of India, or to say the Ministry of Labour and Employment, through its initiative of Pradhan Mantri Rozgar Protsahan Yojana, has been incentivizing employers to create new job opportunities and new avenues for employees, or to say several job seekers with high social security. Well, under the scheme, government is contributing to both EPF, that is Employees Provident Fund, and Employees Pension Scheme 12% apiece with effect from the 1st of April 2018. And the terminal date for registration of beneficiary through establishment was 31st of March 2019. The beneficiaries registered up to 31st March 2019 will continue to receive benefits for 3 years from the date of registration under the scheme. Now, as on September 14 this year, 1.21 crore beneficiaries have been benefited through 1.52 lakh establishments. Government has also implemented National Career Service Project as mission mode project for transformation of National Employment Service to provide a variety of employment-related services like job matching, career counseling, vocational guidance, information on skills development courses, apprenticeship and internship. And under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, launched in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, government is contributing both 12% employers share and 12% employee share under EPF, that is Employees Provident Fund, totaling 24% of wage for wage month from March to August 2020 for all establishment having up to 100 employees, with 90% of such employees earning less than 15,000. Now, statutory Provident Fund contribution of both employer and employee has been reduced to 10% each from existing 12% each for all establishment covered by EPFO for 3 months, and the above initiatives are in addition to various employment generation schemes being implemented by other sectoral ministries and departments. Well, moving on to the next question that was asked by member Narayan Das Gupta from Ministry of Home Affairs. The member has asked about the details of a 5-member committee set up by Ministry of Home Affairs in under the Office of National Law University of Delhi University to look at the reforms in the criminal law.
So this reply has been given by MOS Home Affairs G. Kishan Reddy, and responding to this query, the government says that it has constituted a committee under the chairmanship of Vice Chancellor of National Law University, Delhi, to suggest reforms in the criminal laws. Beyond this, the Ministry of Home Affairs has also sought suggestions from the governors, from the lieutenant governors or from the administrators of the UTs, the chief ministers of the states, the Chief Justice of India, the Chief Justices of respective high courts of the states, the Bar Council of India, the Bar Council of respective states, and also from the universities and colleges of law. Right now, the ministry is examining all these suggestions and is also consulting all the stakeholders. So Rajat, these were the important questions that we picked up for our viewers in this edition of the Question Hour show.
Well, thanks for watching this edition of Question Hour. You can also follow Question Hour and other programs on Rajya Sabha TV on all our online platforms, that is YouTube and also Twitter. Thanks for watching Rajya Sabha TV.
Take care and stay safe.